Hey everybody, welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
I knew this was going to happen someday. We're doing Man of Steel by Brian Michael Bendis.
Oh.
This came out last year.
Okay.
It was a 6-issue miniseries that fulfilled the promise that DC made in double-page splashes within their DC books for like a year, which were just big picture Superman with the words, Bendis is coming.
Oh.
And you're like...
Okay.
When he wrote this, did they do another one? It was like, Bendis is here.
Or Bendis came.
All over the pages.
Bendis just finished. All over Superman. You better enjoy it. This is around the time when Action Comics was hitting 1,000 issues. Superman was ostensibly turning 80 years old. And so they did a big
How dare you, sir? How dare you call him 80? He's
That's
not
gonna-
an old man.
That's going to really age
He's
him.
young. You know what? Let's unmarry him.
Yeah. So he turns 80. They made this really nice prestige printed collection of stories made by creators old and new that celebrated the life and times of Superman.
Okay.
And one little story in there was Bendis' debut story for his run on Superman. When Bendis left Marvel and he went to DC, the DC people were like, what do you want? Because you're Bendis, you can have anything. We'll disrupt anyone and anything happening at our publishing house.
Yeah, none of it matters.
Yo, get the hell out of here! What are you working on over there? Knock it over!
I had a story going on. I was building this wonderful house of cards.
Man!
You got Bendis.
That should be the new term for when something is being built in comics and it's heading towards a satisfying narrative conclusion.
Yeah.
But then right before you get there, then Bendis shows up and then just takes over your book and all other surrounding books, so there's no way you could ever finish it. Like Peter J. Tomasi is working on Superman at that time, and he's telling this story about Superman and his son John and Lois and how, like, okay, they're living in Hamilton County, they're farmers or whatever. And they're having a good time, but Lois is done being a shit kicker. She wants to go back to the city. And so, like, okay, fine. Like, we had a bunch of stories about them on the farm. Let's move them to the city and see how that changes the family dynamic. They start to move, and then Ben is like, ha ha! So Ben is like, I want Superman. And I don't want just Superman, but I want, like, Action Comics as well. I want all the Superman books. And also I want a miniseries to, like, lead up to my run on Superman. So that's what we're doing, is his lead up to his run. So it's like, this is going to give you a taste of what it's like to read Bendis Superman. Right? Because that one little story in Action Comics 1000, that's not enough. That's just a little nugget. Plus, it's drawn by Jim Lee, and you're not going to get that all the time.
That's just a little taste.
Yeah, a little taste, but get ready for more. So get ready for 2 books, both written by Bendis, in which he is systematically, completely rewriting the Superman story. And so, like, if you didn't like this, you're probably not gonna like Superman or Action Comics.
So you're not gonna like what? Like 2/3, half? How many Superman books are there right now?
2.
2? Oh, you're not gonna write any Superman books. Okay.
That's right. But only if you don't like what happens in Man of Steel.
Man of Steel is the name of this run?
Yeah, this is a mini series, and in fact, it's a little bit of an homage to in the '80s after Crisis when they were like, we got to reboot Superman, we're going to do these new things, and they had John Byrne come in, and John Byrne kind of like restructured and retold the origin of Superman. Like, let's show you the first little bit of Superman's history.
Okay.
Getting his sea legs and becoming Superman.
Yeah, let's give him a base.
Yeah, and it was a flashback mini-series called The Man of Steel. And in fact, it used this typeface for the
I was going to say, that typeface is very dated.
It is.
It's intentionally.
It looks really bad on modern covers. Like, really bad.
Okay.
But it's also happening in real time.
Yeah.
Except for the flashback story, which is happening whenever. Because Bendis came from Marvel, and Marvel's like, I don't care. When it happened, fuck you.
We don't care about timelines. It's just like all happening.
It all happened. It happened there, and it ended over there, and that's never going to come. So, like, just whatever. So
it's a lot easier. You don't have to, like, fit it into existing stories. You just, it just happened anytime.
You know who fits it? You.
Yeah.
You sucker.
Yeah, but there's literally no time where it could fit.
Right. Yeah, but, like, well, then here's the deal. Then you get to pick and choose. Now you get to be the editor.
Yeah, the editor of your own little headcanon.
Yeah. All of Marvel's basically headcanon anyway.
Where are we in Superman's history right now? So you
Okay.
were saying they were moving
Yes,
to the
okay.
city. So are they in the city at the beginning of this?
I believe they. Okay, so Superman, Lois, and John moved to an apartment in Metropolis. And
Moving on up.
And we're there. And they've done a number of stories about John and Damian on the running series Super Sons, which is also done by Tomasi.
Did Lois go back to the Daily Planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did.
She's running it now?
Nah.
No.
No, she's a beat reporter. You know, she's the star reporter for the Daily Planet. She's not going to become editor. That would be ridiculous, especially since we have Perry White. You know?
Right.
He's still around.
Yeah, we can't not have Perry run the Daily Planet.
Well, I think like it's a natural progression for Lois, but
I guess she hasn't been doing it that long in this history, or has she? How old is she?
Well, here's the deal. During Superman Rebirth, they merged Superman and New 52 Superman and Lois and New 52 Lois. So it all happened.
Oh.
So like this Lois is our Lois with all the New 52 baggage. So she's been doing it as long as you want her to have been
New
doing
52
it.
Lois wasn't even in a relationship with Superman.
No, but this time she's married to him.
So how do they merge like that part of her?
They threw that away.
Oh.
They also threw away the Wonder Woman and Superman relationship.
Right.
That whole reason for having a book called Superman and Wonder Woman
Yeah.
in the New 52, an entire series, throw it away.
It's gone.
Superman and Lois and their son John are living in Metropolis, and they are a like nuclear family unit. And John is Superboy, and he's gone on many adventures with Damian as the Super Sons.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you got.
Yeah.
Also, a character named Mr. Oz appeared, actually in like 2012, but like they started really playing with him up until that point. Mr. Oz was a character who was like shrouded in mystery and convenient shadow, so you wouldn't know who he was, who was plucking random characters out of stories and putting them someplace. And most of them were either like characters built in the 90s or characters that make continuity confusing. So like when Doomsday comes back, at one point or another, Doomsday just gets plucked out of reality, and Superman's left to wonder what the hell just happened. And then you see him and he's in like a cage. And like Mixia Spitlake is also in like a cage. And Tim Drake is thought dead, but nope, Tim Drake is actually in one of those cages run by Mr. Oz. Who's Mr. Oz? It turns out Mr. Oz is Jor-fucking-El, Superman's father.
What?
And that Jor-El was somehow plucked from the demise of Krypton at the point when Krypton was about to explode,
Yeah.
and then dropped on Earth in the past, not like the long distant past, but the past enough for him to have like crawled his way out of the desert. He now has like a shard of kryptonite in his eye.
So how was he plucked then, if he's the plucker now?
Right.
Right.
Exactly. Jor-El is clearly
Well, that's
like,
another mystery.
That's a mystery, and it's a mystery that Jeff Johns was building towards, editorially speaking, and clearly had implications with Dr. Manhattan.
Right.
That Dr. Manhattan was kind of like playing with stuff. In fact, when Wally West showed up in DC Universe, he says time was taken from us. As if to say, the New 52 universe is the same as the pre-New 52 universe. It's just that someone like messed with it too much and now it looks unrecognizable.
And took out our stuff.
Yeah, and some of our time, which explains like why there've been 5 Robins and stuff.
Yeah.
But only in 3 years. And
Yeah.
all this stuff. Like, no, we're actually missing time. But forget all that because they throw that right out the window when Jeff Johns stops being in charge. But so Mr. Oz is this like puppeteer. All these things are happening, and Mr. Oz is like doing it in one part because he has like a game to play, but in the other he's protecting his son because he has built over the years, stuck on Earth, a deep resentment for mankind. He's like, these people don't deserve you.
Right.
And so he basically, they've built up Jor-El to being Superman's kind of like opposite. This kind of like new villain who is sympathetic but also is diabolical. who
Was not
hates
he the one
humanity.
that sent his son to Earth?
Well, it depends on the. Well, yes, he did, but he also like didn't really know them. Although, unless he did, it depends on which continuity you're going with. But like,
Okay.
yeah, he sent. Well, basically, he's like, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have sent you here. These people are vile.
I didn't know what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
I was desperate
Yeah,
to save
we were
you.
gonna die.
Yeah, so I pushed the button and sent you off into the unknown.
Well, and in some continuities, he does know what Earth is, and he's like, they're gonna be. Like, it's gonna work out perfect for you.
Yeah, they seem okay.
Yeah, they seem
Oh,
all right.
I was wrong.
Well, it turns out, like when I met them, they're actually assholes.
Yeah.
So
or like a lot of them are.
right.
And that's not okay.
More than there are less.
Right.
So.
I didn't realize it at the time.
Yeah.
Their TV made them seem like they were great.
Right. So Mr. Oz has this whole plan. There's a big story about that. But it's important to know that Jor-El is Mr. Oz, and that he had a problem with humanity, and he and Kal had like an adventure, and Superman was like, I don't believe you're my dad because you're such a dick.
Yeah.
And then ultimately he does find out, yes, it was my dad. Like that really is Jor-El. And then in their battle, Superman breaks the staff, which is kind of like the source of his longevity and power. And it also seemingly breaks this kind of like cloud of insanity that was over Jor-El. And he's like, son, I'm sorry. Like I wasn't myself. And I need to tell you. And then he's zapped out of reality.
Oh.
And you're like, oh shit. So like Dr. Manhattan obviously is involved in this. And I say Dr. Manhattan not because it says Dr. Manhattan did this, or you see him like going like, like it's just because that's the implication.
Right.
And because clearly that's where it was going
Yeah.
when Johns was in charge.
Right.
So that's where you left Mr. Oz.
Okay.
That's
He's
important.
gone. Yeah.
He's gone. And by a nigh omnipotent being who has plans for the DC Universe we have not actually seen realized yet.
But Superman knows his dad is alive and is out there
Well,
somewhere.
he was alive.
Yes. Well,
Now
and-
he's disappeared.
right.
It could be he could be dead. He could be alive.
Yeah, and he also knows his dad's kind of like a jerk, but maybe not. Maybe it was all
Right.
part of this other person's machinations. So that's where Superman is.
What about the people in the cages? What
Oh, they
was
got
that?
freed.
Oh.
Like they either freed
what was
themselves
the
or
purpose
they.
of caging them?
Right. What was the purpose indeed? So anyway, where we are now is Bendis shows up and he's like, you know who sucks? All of Superman's rogues gallery. Like, they're all boring and stupid. Brainiac? Pfft. Metallo? Pass. Lex Luthor? Please. How about we create a big hulking monster that wants to kill Superman?
You mean like Mongol or Doomsday?
Yeah, like that. Only with a really, really insipid purpose. And can we also, for the added bonus, make him undermine all of continuity? Because
I
I'm
mean,
Bendis.
why would you want to do that, though?
I'm Brian Michael Bendis. That's what I do, baby. That's what I do. So he debuts a character named Rogol Zar, who I have dubbed
No!
the worst character invented in 2018.
Okay.
Rogol Zar is also unfortunately named after the doctor who rescued Bendis from death. Brian Michael Bendis actually had a debilitating disease, and his doctor, his attending doctor, was named Dr. Rogol.
Okay.
And he's like, you saved me. I will name the worst character I could possibly create after you.
Why would you do this to me?
Because he thinks Rogol Zar is super cool, and he thinks he's so cool that every time there's a big thing that happens, from Man of Steel to Superman, like literally when he takes over Superman, like we're getting a footing, blah, 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 bam, Rogol Zar again. So the opening of the Man of Steel hardcover includes the Action Comics 1000 story, in which Superman is kicked around Metropolis by Rogol Zar.
And Rogol just shows up one day in Metropolis.
Yep,
So
he
I'm
just
here.
shows up and he's kicking the crap out of
He
Superman.
looks horrible.
Yes, Rogol Zar is terrible. Here are the reasons why Rogol Zar is terrible. Number one,
Reason the first.
he has a stupid name. Number two,
established.
he is overly developed. He has a lot going on.
He's like Two-Face.
Yeah, for one thing, he has a complicated face. For another, they horribly scarred half that complicated face, rendering him even more complicated looking. He has random crystals and jewels all over his body.
And a skull on his belt.
But a little one. So it's like he killed like a muskrat and he put the skull right in his belt.
Yeah. Of course, not a real skull. It's just decorative, and he just likes
Clearly it's decorative. It's like
it. Yeah.
Spawn.
Yeah.
They're
Not
all
only that,
skulls.
but like he doesn't have a nose, but he has the shape of where a nose should be, but it just goes into a lip.
And of course he has sharp, jagged teeth. He's super cool, but he's also incredibly articulate because he's a warrior who's from time. He's got a lot going on.
He looks like a character from DuckTales.
You mean because he's got like a duck face?
Yeah, kind of.
a little bit, yeah.
No, my nose is part of the bill. It's fine. My lips just stick out.
Rogol Zar looks like a relic from 1995. Looks like they found some sketches and they were like, wait, what was this guy? And they're like, I don't know.
I think he's got a scarf too.
Yeah, he does. So Rogol Zar is kicking the crap out of Superman. He's knocked unconscious a couple of Bendis characters, some hot chicks. They like pull Superman like out of the way, and they like talk to each other about how hot he is and about how he's wearing his old uniform with the underwear on the outside.
Ah.
That was another big change, and it really
So people in the world observe that Superman changed.
yes, that he changed his costume.
Okay.
Because after Rebirth, they altered his costume again to get rid of that dumb collar, but they were also like, underwear on the outside is really stupid and we hate it. And we understand, because we're adult comics now, that wearing underwear on the outside of your clothes makes you look like an idiot. So we're going to throw that away. Batman, Superman, doesn't matter that it doesn't break up the color scheme. Trust me, we fixed it, okay? So they give him this new suit, and then Bendis is like, I want to write Superman. They're like, done. He's like, and I like Superman when he looked like the Superman that I remember. And they're like,
Okay.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Underwear on the outside of clothes.
I don't know why we ever got rid of that one.
Loved it.
Oh, it was brilliant.
So cool.
You are so smart, Brian.
You know what actually represents the strong man from the 30s? Has a lot of history and depth. So Superman has the underwear on the outside of his clothes again. And the girls are like, I think it works. And then one of them's like, he wouldn't be Superman without it.
Oh my God.
And you're like, all right, I get it.
All right.
I happen to agree with you, Bendis.
Yes.
But
You're breaking the fourth wall a little bit.
a little bit.
Jesus.
So then Supergirl shows up because Superman's unconscious, and she's like, bring it on, Rogolzar. And so they're fighting. He's like, oh no, there's all these Kryptonians. I gotta kill them all because I'm gonna cleanse this Earth of Kryptonians because Kryptonians are the problem with the universe.
Okay. So they're all like two of them
Yeah.
who live.
Right, both of them.
I'm so sick and tired of all these Kryptonians.
But there's also his son.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't
three
know
of
about
them.
him.
Oh, two. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is John technically
Oh,
Kryptonian,
He's
or is he
half
like?
Kryptonian.
Yeah.
So anyway, we cut away from that
Okay.
fight, and then we establish how things are in the new Man of Steel universe. In the new
Okay.
Superman.
We cut away from the fight before it finishes.
Yeah. So Superman dresses as Clark Kent, goes to the Daily Planet, and tries to reassimilate as Clark Kent, doing his thing. Perry's barking orders and telling everybody what they should be doing. And he's like, Kent, you better have a story for me. He's like, oh, I do. Superman went to Costa Rica and kicked the crap out of some bad guys.
Well,
And
look like Lex Luthor.
I guess it's black market LexCorp
Power suits. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, neat idea, not a story. It's a footnote.
Right. Okay.
Perry's also like, so who's gonna get Lois Lane's office? Kent. What do you say? And he's like, oh no, I couldn't. Like, I don't want to be reminded.
Aren't they what?
And you're like, what? I don't want to be reminded of that. And you're like,
Yeah, I was about to say, aren't they married?
yeah, aren't they married with a son? And it's like they unmade the marriage.
Yeah.
And Bendis is counting on that because he's like, I learned a long time ago that if you upset your fan base, they will buy more comic books. So he dangles this "Where's Lois?" down the road for several issues where you're like, what happened to Lois? Is the marriage undone? We were all enjoying Peter J. Tomasi's run with a nuclear family Superman. What are you doing? And it's like, yeah, but we're upsetting the status quo. We're changing things up. Come on.
Don't you hate this? I do. I need to read what's happening.
We only had
Thank you
it for
very
a little
much.
while.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but we were only enjoying it for like a year. Yeah, but now it's over.
It is barely even status quo.
Right.
People don't want to read things they like. They want to read things they hate.
And right when you're like, hey, did they undo the marriage? Perry White's like, hey, and let's introduce you to a couple of new Bendis characters. Two sexy ladies that Clark Kent might be interested in.
Oh my God,
Trish
what?
Q, gossip columnist. And how about Robinson Good? She isn't afraid to wear a cape indoors without superpowers. So Robinson Good is a new beat reporter. She's Black Lois Lane. And maybe we'll see some sexual chemistry between her and Clark. And it's all a ruse, by the way. It's all just like subterfuge to make you think like, oh no! And in that regard, you're like, okay, if you're a marketer first and a writer second, I applaud you on your ability to upset your fan base and to keep them guessing. Kent's like, I gotta go. So he like runs up to the roof, becomes Superman, leaves. And Robinson chased after him. And she's like, Mr. Kent, are you up here? Oh, he's gone here. That's weird. And then we go with her to this like cool club in Metropolis. And she's meeting up with this fellow in a business suit. And she's going to be like infiltrating the Daily Planet for them.
Oh.
Who is she? What's her scheme? What's she going on? She's like, I'm going to give
actually
you
a
a
bad
lowdown.
guy.
Yeah, maybe she's a bad guy. Spoiler, she is. So she's like, by Wednesday, I will own the Daily Planet. And you'll have to buy Superman on sale now from DC Comics to find out more. Drink.
Okay.
So then we flash way back in the past to a planet that Rogolzar, I guess, lives on or whatever. And it's like kind of like wrecked. So maybe it's his home world and it was destroyed by Kryptonians or something, but who cares? So Rogolzar's talking to this clandestine group of It's more or less the same thing he was doing at Marvel when there were like different heads of state across the galaxy who meet up and make decisions. It's like the Galactic Illuminati.
Right.
But this is actually a thing that Bendis is using from previous continuity,
Oh.
which is rare.
Okay.
And they're different representatives of different races, including like the Guardians from Oa. Rogolzar is their Section 31.
Like he's off the books.
He's the off-the-books Black Ops. When we need something done dirty and quick, we send Rogolzar to do it.
Okay.
And Rogolzar is like, okay, so I've got some news for you guys. The Kryptonians, they're bad news. They're talking about like extending their trade and stuff. Don't believe them. Kryptonians are horseshit. They're gross and stupid and I hate them and I wish they were all dead. In fact, that's actually kind of like the whole thesis of my argument. We should kill Krypton. Fuck 'em.
Oh, good. His face isn't mangled here. And he's
No,
still
it gets-
just as ugly.
It gets right later, but yeah.
I kind of figured that his blue eye was a result from being
From
horribly
being-
burnt.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
He's
'cause-
like a husky.
Yeah. No, he's. I think he loses the eye in a previous war because
Oh.
Bendis is like really quick to build up. Like, no, Rogolzar. Even though we've been from one end of the galaxy to the other, let's establish that Rogolzar is a force to be reckoned with. That's been around for like aeons.
He's been around for a very long time.
Yeah,
And the most powerful people use him as a mercenary.
and other races are aware of him and fear him.
Sure.
So
And
it stands to reason he
the
lost the
older
eye in
he
a big
gets,
fight.
like the more messed up he gets.
Well, like, he
at
keeps-
some point in the past, he lost his eye, and then later on,
He'll lose
his
half
face
his
gets
face.
messed up.
Exactly.
Like he's just all scars upon scars.
right.
He's like Lobo, but better.
Yeah. Well, like but deeper. So.
And he takes himself seriously.
Very much so. So anyway, there's a subplot in this that carries over into Superman in which like there are some random fires that are being set in Metropolis. There's like an arsonist
Oh,
at
no.
large. And this is our opportunity to introduce another sexy lady character that Ben has created, named Melody Moore. And Melody Moore is new. Not only is she new to us, but she's new to Metropolis. She just joined the fire department. And she meets Superman because Superman's investigating these fires. Yeah, he fights like Rogolzar, who is, of course, like more powerful than Galactus. But also, he has to deal with like an arsonist.
Right.
And he's not a detective, so he's got to like figure it out.
He can't do everything like automatically like by himself.
Right, he's
and
gotta
just win
solve
every
these
fight right
problems,
away.
yeah.
It's hard for him sometimes.
And sometimes they're real world problems.
Yeah.
So Superman
He works
goes
on all levels, ground
Exactly.
levels, cosmic levels.
And on that level, I appreciate it because
Yeah.
Bendis does have reverence for Superman.
Right.
And you can feel that he really does love this character because Superman never makes a mistake and doesn't say the wrong thing ever, which is unlike most of the characters he writes for.
Right.
Which is also kind of indicative of the fact that Bendis probably shouldn't be writing Superman because he has too much reverence for the character. But that being said, I might hate this book even more if Superman was also a bumbling ass clown.
Right.
So let's meet Melody Moore. She's hot and sexy, and she thinks Superman is just fine. So Superman is like, well, you're fun and sexy, and maybe my marriage is unmade, so we'll add you to the list. And then he leaves.
I'm not going to say anything definitive, though.
Right. So then we go back to the past, and Rogolzar is like slaughtering a beast of some kind, just showing how badass and cool he is.
Yeah.
When Appa Ali Apsa, who is actually a Guardian from the Guardians,
Okay.
again, points for Bendis for actually checking Wikipedia.
He wasn't like killed with all the other ones. when they
Oh,
were-
probably. This is in the past. This is before
oh,
Krypton
this is the
was
past.
destroyed.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, so I congressed with the rest of them, and no, we're not going to destroy Krypton.
Yeah.
And he's
Right,
like,
because that's insane. That's
Yeah.
an entire planet of people. They can't all be bad.
and listen, like, don't take our rejection as a condemnation of all you've done for us.
Right.
We appreciate you.
It's great,
We
but
think you're
we're
great.
just we're not
going another
ready for that level.
Yeah, exactly. You're
the genocide.
right.
You know, it wasn't. It doesn't make you a monster to have suggested that. I don't want you to think that we
Please.
think you're a monster.
No,
No, you're a monster just because of who you are.
You look like one, but that doesn't mean that we treat you as such.
We legitimately considered genocide.
Absolutely.
We did.
No, we caucused. It
was very close. It was 4-3.
It was 4-3. It was close.
Just didn't go your way this time.
This time.
Yeah.
But by the way, I don't want this to curtail you from ever bringing up these kinds of notions in
Right.
the future. Because, you
Continue
know,
to bring us races that you think should be eradicated, and we
please,
will
as long as
continue
they
to
don't
pass
represent our
judgment.
numbers, I'm sure we'll definitely go your way.
What I'm saying is we're very interested in your upward mobility, and we want to consider you for future positions with
Absolutely.
us. So we're interested in seeing you grow.
Yeah.
Anakin, what we're saying is, we're giving you a seat on the council, but we do not recognize you as the rank of master. Rogolzar doesn't take it well.
Not fair.
Man, when you think of him like that, he sucks even more. Then we are treated to the first of many flashbacks that is basically just, and sometimes, egregiously, they'll use the same pages from the flashbacks in the later issues to fill up space. And because, I don't know if you know this, but this 6-issue miniseries was drawn by the following artists. Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Dexter Vines, Ivan Rice, Joe Prado, Jason Fabik, Evan Shanner, Steve Rude, Ryan Sook, Wade Von Grawbadger, Kevin Maguire, and Adam Hughes.
Wow.
Just to get 6 issues out on time, they needed that many artists to pick up the slack.
That's insane.
And Jason Fabik drew all of the, I want to say 5 pages that actually explain where Lois and John are.
Okay.
What happened.
Right.
So we're at home in their apartment with Lois and John and Superman Clark Kent, and they're having a nice time. They're just talking, having a good old time. And then a big thing shows up in their apartment, and it flashes white, and they're like, oh, what's this? What's going on? And then I think 4 issues later we'll find out what it was.
Oh my God.
Great.
So Gandello, a crystalline entity, goes to visit with Apsala or whatever, with the Guardian.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, so the other day, we're talking to Rogolzar, he's talking about killing Krypton. The next day, Krypton's exploded. I'm thinking maybe Rogolzar might have blown up Krypton.
Well, no,
awfully
don't jump to that
coincidental.
conclusion.
And he goes,
because
hey, let me ask you a question,
I
man.
already spoke to him, and I told him that we weren't going with the plan.
You're in charge of Green Lanterns. Where was the Green Lantern of that sector? And he's like, that's what I'm thinking. If we find out you okayed Rogolzar's motion, there's going to be big problems for you. And he's like, it wasn't me. Must have been Rogolzar. I mean, or not. Listen, I think you'd be very careful to start pointing fingers. Because
Where is your evidence?
Because here's the real question. If, let's say Rogolzar, a guy we supposedly control, destroyed a planet without our say-so, how fucked up do you think that is? Shouldn't we be really more worried about that? So then he goes to Rogolzar's planet, the Guardian.
Yeah.
And
I told you to do it real quiet, man.
he goes, hey, Rogol, buddy, you out here? He's not there. And he goes, well, maybe you died in the explosion that destroyed Krypton.
Yeah.
Let's hope that's what happened.
Why would he create an explosion that would kill himself?
Oh, maybe because he was just so wrapped up in the mission. He was like, this is for me, and he just, took it out. Who knows?
Yeah.
All we do know
He
is...
seemed real suicidal.
Right? Yeah, he seemed like he had a death wish. So, anyway, that's just his way of writing it off. So he doesn't have to think about it anymore.
Oh, well, he's not here.
Oh, well.
Must be dead.
I guess he's probably dead or something.
That's a good conclusion to jump to. That's what I do every time. I don't have object permanence, so I just assume he's dead because he's not here right in front of me right now. So we go back to the Daily Planet today, and Trish and Robinson are talking about like, oh, where's Lois? What's going on? And meanwhile, Superman's fighting the Toyman,
Okay.
who's messing up stuff over at a different city.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's Coast City because he bumps into Green Lantern there. But Toyman's basically like, hey, Superman, what are you doing here? I came to this city so that you wouldn't beat me here.
Uh-huh.
And Superman tries to like make him see the error of his ways. He's like, you have all this genius and this power and these inventions, and you could help everything. And he's like, don't make me feel like a jerk.
This is what I do.
Yeah.
I'm happy with what I do.
So then Green Lantern shows up, and he's like, hey, Green Lantern, what's going on? And Green Lantern's like, do you want me to put him in a soundproof bubble? He's like, please. So he does. And then they talk, and GL's like, hey, man, so what's going on with you and Lois and stuff? And Superman's like, nothing. Bye.
Oh.
I'm sorry, even Green Lantern is aware of this?
And all of them are. They're on the Justice League together.
Yeah.
So we cut back to the flashback.
Yes.
Oh, what happened? Dad, what's going on? There's like seemingly some big bug-like beast in our apartment. Let's find out next time.
Oh my God.
This is exactly like the Bendis is coming thing. Like we're giving little snippets.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just little snippets. Meanwhile, we cut to like a galactic bar where like crazy aliens are doing stuff. Exactly. And Rogolzar is there, and he sees the crest of the House of El on somebody. And he's like, what's this? And they're like, oh, that's the symbol of Superman. That's the symbol of hope. Like, he's this hero for everybody. Like he goes to different.
You don't know who Superman is.
What are you talking about?
Only
This
tell
isn't
you.
that same bar where like the impersonator Superman was, who was the shapeshifter.
Here's the thing. You know how he has that exact same interaction and then grabs like a Superman outfit and like puts it on?
Yeah.
Later on in the Superman run, Rogol Zar will do the exact same thing.
God damn it.
You know how he has that silly
amazing.
scarf?
Yeah.
He makes one out of a Superman cape. And you're like,
What are you doing?
did you selectively read like random stuff like Panic in the Sky? Or did you just watch our episode on it, which you could find right over Ben's head? So,
That was a good segue plug.
you.
Yeah.
there's during that, by the way, that's like a bonus issue that just tells you like what was up with Rogol Zar.
Well,
And
was that happening in the past after Krypton was destroyed?
it was
or
like during.
Is that happening right now?
It's like on the way to Rogol Zar, like finding his way to Earth.
Okay.
Because Rogol Zar thinks he's succeeded, and then he just like goes away. But then he goes to a bar, presumably to wet his beak, and he sees that there are still Kryptonians,
Oh,
and that like
damn
gets him reignited.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Perry White is upset that like newspapers are dying. Remember how newspapers are dying? So Perry White runs a newspaper and he's like, newspapers are dying. And Trisha Q is like, we need to run an article about why ace reporter Lois Lane and ace reporter Clark Kent aren't together anymore. Right, Clark? Don't you think that's a good idea? And Clark's like, no. And she's like, I think it's a scoop. And
How
then
is
we don't.
Print is dead. What does it matter anyway?
Right, but they don't do that.
It's 2001.
How is that going to save the newspaper? Why would Perry be like, yeah, that's what people want to know?
So Perry's just more like open to anything, I guess.
Oh, whatever. Any ideas? I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, do you just want to talk about like banging Lois? Just write all that up, like please? Come on, whatever.
Yeah, let's just turn the Daily Planet into a porn magazine.
I mean, why not, right? I mean, like since
Or
Prince
like
dead.
E.T.
Yeah, or People or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Inside Edition.
so Rogol Zar makes his way to Earth. He goes to the Fortress of Solitude.
How does he know to go
He
there?
finds the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah,
Maybe because it's like emanating fucking energy.
you tell me. There's no dialogue. He lands on Earth. He lands immediately at the Arctic Circle. He goes into the Fortress of Solitude, and then he breaks everything in it. Like,
Of
there's
course.
they don't explain it, and so I won't either. And I won't
Right.
dignify it with brain power to
You know what it
try
is?
and rationalize.
I can sniff him out.
Right. with
And
my-
rather than smell Superman himself, I just found where he lives.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
goes there and he wrecks the place. Then he finds the bottle city of Kandor.
Oh.
And he recognizes it because I guess he's been there before.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, Kandor?
That's weird.
That's weird. So
I
then,
recognize all these landmarks.
yeah. So then,
Smash.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no. Rogol Zar destroyed Krypton and Kandor.
Wait, wasn't Kandor destroyed in another story?
Oh, don't forget about it.
I thought Kandor was like
Big?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that either. Well, now it's dead
Again.
But Superman doesn't know this until later.
Okay.
So
he
Superman's-
didn't hear all the screams of all the mini Kryptonians.
He does later, because he's at another arson site.
Oh, he's got to deal with this fucking arson
Gotta know
problem.
the arsonist.
God
It's
damn it.
real
Remember
world
that arson
stuff.
thing?
Hey,
This is a
no.
grounded story.
We got to get him with that firefighter chick. She's hot.
I know.
Yeah.
Melody Moore. She's hot. She's also a redhead. Like fire. So Superman calls in Batman because he's a detective. And Batman's like, yeah, I'm figuring it out. Like they're spinning their wheels because Bendis wants to do the arson thing in his ongoing run, not the mini series that's leading up to the ongoing run. He's there. They're working with Melody, obviously, because she's hot. And then Clark just goes
Does
like,
Batman like?
No, he's
Clark,
not like
you hitting that?
No. Batman's
Because I know you and Lois aren't
yeah,
together
because
at the moment.
he
you and
doesn't.
Lois,
He's-
you know.
You and Lois. Oh,
You know,
me and Lois
because
fly
of what
off.
happened between you.
the thing that we won't say out loud that we absolutely would in polite conversation. So Superman hears an alarm that only he can hear, so he leaves.
Okay.
And Melody's like, "Hey, so did he? What? No goodbye." And Batman says, and it's a good line. He says, like, when the world's most polite man leaves without saying goodbye, you have to assume it was important.
Yep.
And so Superman goes to the fortress. It's wrecked. Kandor's dead. And he's like, what? And then Supergirl shows up because she heard the same alarm. And she is like, what? And then she freaks out.
Yeah.
Because, like, the other thing is,
Well, because like millions of people just died.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's horrifying.
And
And it was the last of your people.
right.
Yeah.
Now we're truly the last people of Krypton. Also, Supergirl's prone to rage. Sometimes she's also like a Red Lantern. Like that's how
Yeah, I
angry she
remember
gets.
that, yeah.
So like her being hot-headed is part of
like
this
a thing, yeah.
character.
Hey,
Yeah.
another page.
Hey, another page.
Hey, we already saw that.
Yeah, we did, but now we got 3 extra panels, and it's like, oh, who is it? It's Mr. Oz, Jor-El. So
Oh, this is before we know who Mr. Oz is?
well, we've already revealed who Mr. Oz is.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as you see that panel, you're like, oh, it's Mr. Oz.
Oh, it's Mr. Oz.
Yeah.
Wait,
How are you here?
what?
Right.
So what happened to you?
yeah,
don't
you were
worry.
gone.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So
Does he still have his staff?
no.
Okay.
So Superman and Supergirl track Rogol-Zar to Metropolis, where they fight him.
Where like he was waiting for them.
Yeah, he lured them there.
Okay.
So because they
I'm amazed he didn't fight them out at
the fortress.
the fortress itself.
Yeah, but
Just
it needs
wait
to.
for him.
We gotta raise the stakes, you know. So
Yeah, there's got to be people around.
exactly.
Well, it has to be in Metropolis because like that's his home base.
Yeah. So Superman basically gets choked out by Rogol-Zar and then passes out.
Ah.
And then we cut back to that flashback, and we really establish that Mr. Oz / Jor-El is the uninvited guest in the apartment of the Kents. And
Yeah.
so
We
Mr.
knew
Oz,
that in the last reveal.
yeah, but now he's
there's a
really
little bit
here.
more.
And so Mr. Oz is like, like I'm here.
Okay.
And then we got back to
What?
the story.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, I can imagine
Damn.
in the middle of your story, suddenly it's.
So it's
Meanwhile,
a panel you
Yeah.
already saw.
That you saw in the previous issue that you bought already.
Yeah. And then like 2 more new panels.
Here's the thing.
Where nothing new happened.
Yes.
I have 3 pages of information. How can I
Yes.
stretch this out into 6
issues.
books?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Just keep showing the same stuff over and over. You know when you're like previously on this
Yeah.
episode?
Yeah.
And you see all the flashbacks. We're
There
doing
you
that
go.
again. Yeah.
You know, in Indiana Jones, Raiders, when he's going escaping the tunnel and everything's collapsing, and you see the door closing,
Yeah.
and you see the door close like 3 times. It's like that.
That's just bad editing. So,
Yeah, it's like a throwback to like Flash Gordon and
oh,
like stuff
I
like
see.
that.
That's
where
what this
it's
is.
deliberate.
It's actually really clever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's genius.
Fuck you.
So, Green Lantern shows up, and he's like, and when Superman wakes up, he's like, "Hey, so what's going on?" And he's like, "Oh," and he gives Green Lantern the context. He says like, "I'm here to cleanse the Earth of Kryptonians," and blah blah blah. And Lantern's like, he said he was gonna cleanse the Earth. Cleanse? He said that. He's like, yeah. And he also admitted to destroying the planet of Krypton. And GL's like, that doesn't add up.
Didn't
Like,
it
well,
blow
also-
up?
Didn't it blow up?
Well, and
maybe-
didn't he just choke out Superman? What, he choked him out and then went away?
Yeah, he went away.
What?
No, I can't kill you right away. Then I'm not going to get my rocks off doing this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like a cat. I want to play with you first.
Right.
I mean,
So,
presumably.
so Jor-El's like scientific like explanation for
Why
Krypton
Krypton
being
was gonna-
destroyed, that was just wrong.
Yeah. Or
something?
No, it was like, no, it's all connected,
Oh.
I'm sure. So it's like, no, the tremors he was feeling, those are Rogol-Zar.
Yeah, punching the planet's
just
core.
punching the planet to
Just in
death.
there, just tearing shit apart.
Yeah, just ripping out the foundation of the planet itself.
There's like columns holding up the planet and he's knocking them over.
We will see, I guess, how Rogol-Zar is able to do it.
Okay.
We won't see a flashback to him doing it, but we will see how he's
Okay.
maybe able to do it.
All right.
It won't be satisfying to any of you. So, Supergirl shows up and she's like, "Kandor's dead. Like we can't let him get away with this."
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
And-
what? Did you get choked out too? What
No,
happened?
She was punching him and then he got away. So Superman goes back to the Fortress of Solitude where Rogol-Zar is waiting for him, and they have like a back and forth. You know, where he's just like,
They have a conversation?
yeah.
Yeah.
Superman tries to have one with him like a bunch of times throughout the Superman series because Rogol-Zar keeps coming back. So when Green Lantern and Superman were talking, he says he wants to cleanse the Earth. Does he know about your son?
Oh.
And Superman's like, oh shit, and he goes to the fortress and he's looking for something. And Rogel's like, why are you here, man? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
I already wrecked it.
I already wrecked it. He's like, I was looking for something. I need to call someone. But you broke my only means of communication. You wrecked everything. And he's like, oh, like you're not like with anybody, are you? Like, are you saying that you were trying to call someone, like maybe your offspring or something? Like that's, you didn't like mate with these fleshy creatures, did you? Like these soft things.
Also, like, I have more disdain for them than you, apparently.
Nah,
Yeah,
he
I'm gonna
hates-
cleanse them too, I guess, because of how
you
horrible.
touched you touched their culture.
You touched
Yeah.
their hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Superman's like,
The fact that they're having a conversation is absolutely dumb.
Yeah, I don't
Superman
understand. Why
luring
isn't
him in.
Rogolzar trying to kill him right now?
because he's like, he knows he can beat him. I blew up your whole planet.
yeah.
But then Superman unveils his new 52 power. The solar
There's a
flare.
solar flare?
Yeah.
And then, like, he has no energy, right?
Yeah, doesn't that depower him?
No, he's fine. Because Bendis read enough about it to be like, he does the solar flare. But he also keeps his powers. That way he's super powerful.
And this
Well,
does
this is a different
what
Superman. This is a
to
merged-
Rogolzar?
Yeah, this is a rebirth Superman.
Yeah, so he gets to keep.
He gets to keep
the
solar
best of both
flare.
worlds.
Yeah, why not? So then he grabs Rogolzar and then flies him to the moon.
That didn't kill Rogolzar.
Oh, no.
He doesn't throw him in the sun.
No, he doesn't do that either. So they fight on the moon,
Yeah.
and then Rogolzar, like, knocks him out and then leaves him on the moon.
No, so the
Then-
solar flare didn't
How
work.
does Rogolzar even get around? Does he
Oh,
have a ship?
No, he has a cool Lobo-esque motorcycle.
No.
Yeah.
You have to be kidding me.
No.
I mean, we don't see him use it outside of his transportation to Earth.
Oh my god.
Is that dope?
That sucks.
Please tell me that
It
this
must
is,
run on Steam because it's made of pipes.
It's just fire coming out of it.
Please tell me that Rogolzar turns out to not be like real or something,
Or he's Lobo in disguise.
Yeah.
That would be great.
or like I don't know, Mr. Plitnik is
already
like
did
created
that.
him or something.
There's already a story with him
No,
pretending to be other people.
I like the idea that like somehow he's Lobo, but like he got fucked with by that weird council. Like
Right.
they mutated him somehow.
Oh,
and
that'd
he's
be
like,
cool.
I'm
"Oh,
Lobo.
I was the main man.
Now I'm no one. Now I'm the lame man. Flashback to Mr. Oz / Jor-El, and he's like, I'm here. And they're like, what are you doing here?
I came for my visitation rights with
More
my
or less,
grandson.
Here's the thing.
Sorry, I scared you with that bug thing and that bright light. I'm really just here to talk.
It's actually a spaceship. I know we wanted to make you think it was like an alien
Alive?
or something, or
With
alive.
eyes?
Nope,
Yeah,
it's
nope.
actually just your dad. And I know that he's a character and I'm going to use him, but I don't know that he was disappeared by Dr. Manhattan. So now he's here. Also, Lois met him, but in this flashback, she's meeting him for the first time because I also didn't read that book.
Oh, jeez. Oh,
So once that happens, you're like, okay, well then you don't care.
yeah.
And basically, Jor-El's like,
Nor to the editors.
no, because Bendis came.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it must be part of his magnificent plan.
who are we to question Bendis' plan?
You can just tell him, like, hey, man, I don't know if you know this, but,
Just-
Lois already met him.
Just change the line or drop it.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Did
sorry.
you just give me a direction?
No.
Just edit me?
No. No,
That's
I thought maybe you hadn't read.
Where do you live?
Bendis isn't
Nowhere. I don't live
actually,
anywhere.
Having met Bendis a couple times,
His house is just destroyed.
I'll send
It's all-
Rogolzar to wreck your house. Bendis, by the way, I've met him on a couple of occasions, is like a kind, gentle
I'm sure he's very
man.
pleasant.
He's like very lovely and very magnanimous, and he's seen this show, and I'm making fun of his book. Like, and he's still gracious. Like, he's seen
Yeah.
the show, and he still shook my hand. So Jor-El's like, I'm here for John, because Bendis doesn't want to write about John. So let's get John out of the book.
Get him the fuck out of there.
Get him the fuck out of here.
And
Get rid of that fucking
Superman
kid.
does what?
He stares angrily at him while basically John and Jor-El discuss the plan. And Jor-El's basically like, so here's the thing. I hate how you do your thing, Clark / Cal. Like, you're, like, you don't, you lack vision, you lack the ability to, like, actually lead these people. Like, you're like a superhero. You're not like a dictator like I want you to be.
Plus,
Right.
like, you named your son John. It was supposed to be Cal, Jor, and then some other insipid name.
Yeah, well, it's still a 3-letter
Fern.
name.
Yeah, John. He's
Fernell.
John L.
Yeah, he's John L. I'll take that. But anyway, he's basically like, I'm going to take your son, my grandson, with me in my bug ship, and we're going to go across space. And we're going to, like, go on lots of fun,
like the
merry
Traveler?
adventures. He's like the Traveler. Oh, no! We're going to write Wesley Crusher out of the book. So,
That's exactly what that is.
That's exactly
so
what that is.
lame.
yeah. And John is like, yes, I am a 10-year-old boy, but I have the determination of a man, and I am going to go with him.
No,
Well,
John.
I'm your
sacred-
dad,
you're not
and no,
going.
you're not.
He basically
You're
does.
10.
He is like that. He's like, no. And he goes, son, please, the actual adults are talking. The people who know their future.
The people who agree with me are talking. Namely myself and your son.
Yeah. So
So what? He just goes? I don't understand.
we'll get back to that.
Oh, we
That's where-
don't find out.
No, it stops.
We're at an impasse.
We got to go
No,
back to the next
obviously he goes
scene.
with them, and so does like freaking Lois.
Yeah.
She goes as his
Apparently.
chaperone.
Yeah. Supergirl goes to the moon and picks up her cousin
Yeah.
and brings him to the Hall of Justice where he's getting treated.
And what does Rogozar do in the meantime?
He just like bails. He's just like, yeah. No,
I'll kill you
Rogozar
later.
is doing something right now
Oh,
that requires him to not be in the scene.
okay.
So the League is talking to him, and he basically says like, hey, so like some of you guys do, like Superman's like, hey, some of you guys go to space. Can you tell me what this logo is? And he burns a logo into like a plate with his heat vision,
Sure.
which looks a lot like the Flash's logo, but
Yeah.
don't get excited because it's not.
No.
And they're like, I don't know. And
And the Flash doesn't go, look down, look at them.
I mean,
no,
I've never seen that before in my life.
nothing. I've never seen anything like that.
no. The Flash doesn't draw an obvious parallel like, it's obviously a lightning bolt. We should get Shazam in here or any, no. And in fact, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, says there is nothing in the galactic database that looks anything like that.
Did you check or just no?
Yeah, he has his ring out.
Oh,
a little
I
bit.
see.
You can see half his ring in one of those panels.
Oh yeah.
Here's the thing, I did check. There's a section that's redacted about it, but since it's redacted, there's nothing there.
Right, I guess. I'm sure. if it's missing from the Jedi.
I was just gonna say maybe someone deleted it from the archives.
Anyway, so Batman's like, all right, so give me the really short version. What is his deal? And he's like, he says he wants to clean the world of Kryptonians. And he goes, so
Well, that sounds like a personal problem.
if he believes that he cleansed the first planet of Kryptonians,
Yeah.
and if he destroyed your whole planet to do it, don't you
Right.
think maybe? And
Maybe
then
he'll just
Superman's like,
destroy this
oh
planet?
shit. So Superman gets dressed, and then he plows into the core of the Earth, where he
No!
finds Rogolzar.
Building a fucking thing.
A thing that he must have built the first time to destroy Krypton.
But he's
Oh my
already
God.
beaten Superman twice.
Yeah, all he's doing
Hand
is
to
stab
hand.
him.
Just keep hitting him until he dies.
All you had to do was keep choking him.
Yeah,
That was it.
No, I have to destroy the whole planet. And
That
I'll
wouldn't
do it
even kill Superman, though.
No, it wouldn't. But like, what if I destroy his or his adopted homeworld, and then I'll kill him or something?
Right, then he'll be
Rogolzar-
really mad.
Yeah, I
but
do-
that's not about cleansing.
No.
That's something else.
This
Yeah.
plan makes no sense.
No. Well, I mean, it makes sense to a lunatic who has no plan. Like, because that's what he is. He's like, he's literally been driving around his silly ass bike for 1,000
That's
years
true.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Superman finds Rogolzar.
I choked you out. Like I already beat you twice.
He's like, oh, I could kill this guy.
I found
anytime.
there was no joy in it. You're not
Yeah.
a threat.
See, that would be character. So then we cut back to the past, and Superboy reveals some information that came up in a previous Super Sons story, in which, like, okay, so there's like an alternate reality future version of Tim Drake Robin who becomes Batman, and he's mad because, like, Superboy Jonathan Kent will grow up, use his solar flare irresponsibly, and destroy the Earth. So he goes back in time to try and kill John.
The whole
shit.
Earth.
The whole planet. he's so powerful. So that doesn't pan out, and Damian and John have like a merry adventure along with the Teen Titans. And Damian basically is like, John is my friend, and I know he's like 10, but I vote he goes on the Titans because I'm also kind of like in charge of it. So
Yeah.
like, let's put it to a vote. And the rest of the Titans are like, we're a shitty team, and our book's gonna get canceled, so no. And so Bendis uses that as motivation for John to leave Earth because he's like, I'm going to one day grow up and destroy the planet, and I should learn stuff from my grandpa who's going to take me across the galaxy because I'm also sad that the Teen Titans wouldn't let me have me on their team.
Right. I'm running away
Yes.
from my problem.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Except
what makes you think your grandfather knows more about using his powers responsibly
Than
than me, your
Superman!
dad?
Bendis doesn't want him in the book.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
Bendis wants to artificially create tension in the beginning of this book for you to wonder if we undid the marriage.
yes.
So we're finally catching up to
Yeah.
that. Anyway, so John has like a meltdown that he absolutely wouldn't have if you actually read the Super Son
Right.
story that happens in, because time travel's involved, and they ultimately stop that from happening. Like they don't stop that future,
Right.
but they like have influenced the timeline now,
Right.
so John won't do
Right,
that.
he knows it's going to happen now, so why would he do it?
Boom. So,
Because it was an accident,
also,
right?
Tim Drake from the future absorbs John's solar flare ability, so he can't even do it.
What?
What?
He just takes it away?
Yeah, it's a story. We're not going to do it. So,
All right.
Superman then finds Rogolzar at the core of the Earth with a machine that's actually a lot smaller than it was in the previous issue because different artists drew it.
Oh, this is
And
interesting. And like the core of the Earth is hollow. It's not like there's molten lead around.
it's splashing around.
There's rocks. He's standing on rocks. There's no rocks.
No,
it's all liquid in the core.
We're like right outside the
Ethan,
liquid center. Like,
Ethan,
right outside.
Don't. We can't.
Liquid all the way down.
You don't know. You've never been there. No one's seen it.
Maybe there's a whole
I'm sorry.
planet down there.
I'm sorry. It's
where
liquid,
dinosaurs live.
and then it's solid iron.
I understand.
Like it's there's no rocks.
I know. The dumb part isn't
If it
how
was-
inaccurate the center
If
of
it
the
wasn't
Earth
the
is.
center, if it was like, well, it's part way down.
Well, okay.
Maybe.
You know what? They draw how far into the Earth Superman plows. So
Yeah, let's see.
it looks like the
No,
center
that's the
to
center.
me.
Yeah, that's the center. What's weird is like, well,
How much crust there is?
yeah,
Well, maybe
this is all like rock.
maybe we're not. I mean, like that's kind of an angle. Like if we're to assume
yeah,
the Earth
let's
is this
complete
big.
the circle. Yeah, no, that's the core.
Yeah.
That's a completely inaccurate depiction of
Not
the
only that, but the
interior
crust
of the
is
planet.
like there.
Yeah, well, the crust in reality is actually like this.
Oh, that?
Yeah, we're not gonna.
And then it's all magma.
This is all molten and
Mm-hmm.
until you get to the center, which is solid, but like it's just a
just
a metal
iron.
ball. There's no rocks.
So no, the dumb part isn't how inaccurate the core of the Earth is. The dumb part is Superman and Rogolzar have like a conversation at the Arctic Circle where Superman uses a solar flare. Then Superman asks Rogolzar what kind of technology he's using, and Rogolzar says, "I'm sorry, are you attempting to speak to me? Because speaking to Kryptonians is lower than anything I could possibly imagine." And I'm like,
We just had a
You've
conversation.
been doing it for 5 issues. So. Superman,
You can't even keep the continuity in your own book.
So Superman goads Rogolzar into fighting because he basically says, like, oh, like, you are so sincere in your hate for me, and that makes me feel sorry for you. And Rogolzar's like, oh, no.
Nobody feels sorry for me.
Especially a Kryptonian. I will not accept your pity.
So he attacks him, and Superman just throws Rogolzar, like, away, and then he grabs the Doomsday device and then flies into space and, like, gets rid of it. You know,
Why
that
doesn't
way-
he just try to destroy it with his laser eyes?
Right? Well, because he's already doing this. So he's away.
Yeah.
Plan.
Meanwhile,
in the past,
the
a little
real
bit,
action
yeah,
or something.
Jor-El is like, okay, listen, you know, I see you're all upset about my suggestion to steal your son. What if all of you came with
borrow.
me? Yeah, I'm gonna bring him back.
Yeah.
But like, what if like you all came with me? I mean, obviously, like Cal, you could really benefit from having a real father anyway. like, get
I
fucked.
have a real father.
Yeah, and he's still dead, which is frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
But you know,
I
he's
had one.
yeah. But anyway, so then Lois is like, I'll go. It'll be the story of the century. What a scoop. Incidentally, I have a book deal, and I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'll write a book about how I gallivanted across the galaxy with my son and his grandfather. Wait, I can't do that because then it would reveal that
tell
my husband's
anybody.
Superman, but we're going to ignore that because I have to justify getting Lois out of the book so we can assume that we undid the marriage at the beginning of this book.
God damn it.
Well, it'll be a story about how I gallivanted across the universe with my son and Mr. Oz.
Right.
A guy who's not connected to me in any way, shape, or form.
Or to my son. Lois has
Why?
lost it. She's gone cuckoo.
Yeah, are you kidding me? No one's going to publish that book.
Well, also, yeah, that book would suck and be boring because nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
And so Clark says, like, no, right? He's like, that's the worst idea.
No, because Lois is like, I'm going to go. He's like, I don't like it, but I can't stop you. So
I don't like it, and it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yep. So
You're also going to take my son away from me?
yeah. But,
what?
But this is just
Are
for
we
a little
getting
while.
divorced? What's
No,
happening?
just for a little while. And so Jor-El.
This is like a trial.
Yeah. So Jor-El gives.
We're going on a break.
Yeah. Yeah, but don't fuck any sexy firefighters, gossip columnists, or replacements for
reporters.
me.
Yeah. Well, when are you coming back?
I don't know.
I don't know. He's in charge now.
Yeah, we're taking cues from Jor-El.
Ask your dad.
Ask your creepy-eyed dad. So, while Superman's fighting Rogolzar, Supergirl shows up and fights him some more.
Is she like super powerful in this? Is she like stronger than Superman?
Right,
in this?
like a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was when she first shows up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're fighting, and then Supergirl says like, "Fuck this," and she pulls out the Phantom Zone projector and she sucks Rogolzar into the Phantom Zone.
Oh.
So he's gone.
Why didn't anyone try that like earlier? Why isn't
Superman
that your
makes
first
a-
move?
Ethan, you
Superman
can't
makes a
just
point.
Phantom Zone all your problems away.
Like almost a verbatim line from the book. Superman
Really?
says that basically, where he's like, "I wish we could have come up with a better solution. We can't just send all of our problems into the Phantom Zone."
I guess that's fair. There's like people in there and stuff.
Yeah, well, they're all
But
like
they're all bad.
they're all
so
bad.
Like,
Some of them
whatever.
are. But what's great is then the next arc is that Rogolzar like makes friends with all the bad guys
Yeah.
in the Phantom Zone, and Earth gets sucked into the Phantom Zone too.
Earth gets sucked into the Phantom
The
Zone.
whole Earth.
The whole planet.
The whole planet gets sucked into the Phantom Zone. And then, well, don't worry, because the atom shrinks the Earth, and then they Phantom Zone it out, and then they regrow the Earth.
Regrow it, yeah.
Fart.
Yeah, the
So-
whole Earth.
Well, how else would it fit through that little Phantom Zone projector?
Exactly.
How'd you get it in there in the first place? The atom didn't be like, oh, I'm going to shrink the
Well,
Earth so we can get it in.
they didn't use this projector.
Oh, maybe
so
it's a different one.
they suck him in. They keep his silly axe, which has his Flash logo on it, so
Yeah.
they can keep looking it up.
Well, you know what it looks like. You don't really need
Yeah.
the axe. to
No.
look it
So
up.
Superman gives Lois his rebirth costume, which adjusts according to the person's size if you push a button on its belt.
Adjusting fit. Drying.
Auto drying.
Your super suit has now arrived. So she
You look like an idiot.
so she wears
Gotta have your
Superman's
pockets on the
costume.
outside.
Basically, he says like, if you wear it, people will be nice to you because you're wearing my costume. And also, like, it
Who
kind
are
of
these people? People across the other side of the galaxy?
yeah, because they all know Superman.
Oh my
The whole
god!
galaxy.
Yeah,
does.
the
Oh my
whole
god,
galaxy.
Superwoman! Superwoman, save me!
Literally, that happens in the Superman book. Like,
Of course it does. She puts on the fucking costume.
the first place they land. Like they go there and they see her and they like go to her and they're like, please, my planet's in trouble. My son is dying. Like, well, and she's like, I can't. Fuck this. And she gets back in her ship and she goes back home.
What?
Then she hides from Superman for a few months
What?
while she like intercepts Inner Gang. And Superman's like, hey. And he finds her and he's like, why? Why did you hide from me? She's like, because I needed something for myself, Clark. I need this for myself.
and you take everything.
no.
That's what you
What?
always do, you
Yeah,
selfish
It's
Clark.
always about you. And so then, like, they're-
What about our son? Where the hell did you do with our son?
Oh, I left him with your crazy dad.
The only reason I let him go is because he was with you.
Well, now he's not with me. Now we can fuck. So they do.
I want a divorce.
They don't get a divorce, but they
Christ.
do bang, and she keeps up a separate residence. So it's close enough.
This is...
What?
That sucks.
Yeah, that's later though. That's not this.
I know.
So then this explains where Superman gets his old costume from. Like, because he gave his regular costume to Lois. Get it? So then everybody holds a, like, candlelight vigil and do those, like, kind of like...
The paper
those
lantern
paper
things.
lanterns, but they're all, like, Bottle City things for all the people who died in Kandor.
Who holds this vigil?
The Justice League.
Oh, okay.
And Superman, Supergirl.
Okay.
So then, like, Lois and John leave with...
They still haven't left yet?
Nope,
Jesus.
they leave with Jor-El, and
Just
then
leave already.
Superman goes into his son's bedroom and cries.
Yeah.
The last page reveal is that like a little boy goes to Melody from the fire department and he's like, I know who started the fires. It was Superman. Oh,
What?
who gives a shit?
What?
I mean, it wasn't, though.
Nope.
no, of course not.
But
Why would he do that?
because we want to establish that like Superman's gonna have a hard time.
He's gonna be in like legal trouble. The police are gonna be after him.
yeah, he'll
And
be
then
like
is
a
he gonna let
vigilante
himself
or
be
something.
arrested?
Fart? Yeah, like that kind of thing.
I'm sure Batman is also totally on board with this this
He
theory.
doesn't factor. So, Man of Steel sets up the new status quo for Superman, which is he's single, and John and Lois are off in outer space, and Rogolzar broke the cell phone to call them. So now he can't communicate with them. He doesn't know if they're in trouble or when they're going to come back. But then she comes back like a couple books later anyway.
Well, you never called.
Yeah.
Clark.
And then another couple books later, it gets worse. You know how like this sucks? Like this sucks.
It's not as bad as One More Day, but it's like
Right, but it's like One More Day like without teeth. Like it's just
Yes,
it's not quite.
yeah.
They didn't go all the way.
Right.
Then because Ben is clearly like I don't want to write about a 10-year-old boy. I think it's boring.
okay.
Yeah, but
well,
that's
have him
his
go to
life
reform
now. He
school
has
or
a
something.
son.
Yeah. Well, but I don't want to do that. So he has John go on a bunch of adventures with Jor-El and like reveals that Jor-El is actually like certifiably insane. And like he's horrible at taking care of John. And he has
terrible
like
idea.
no plan. And John gets embroiled in like a whole bunch of shenanigans that result in him aging up to 17.
No.
And then he goes through like a thing.
You know how when you travel faster than the speed of light or at the speed of light, you slow down and everyone
Yeah,
else
so,
like,
like,
well, this
they-
is the exact opposite.
Right, so like they only
We travel
experience-
fast.
that.
So John's gone for like 3 weeks, but he's aged 7 years. So when he comes back as a teenager, so now I can write fun stories about John being a teenager.
Yeah, great.
And-
Except he was supposed to be super sons with Damien.
Right, but that's over now. Also, like I know that you only had like a year of like this one idea of Superman having a family and like raising his son. Well, like I threw all that away. So now
And
like
you could never see him grow up.
you
with,
can never see him grow up. In fact, like most of the time he spent in like a hole that the crime syndicate left for him. Oh yeah, by the way, Ben has
What?
also retconned that the crime syndicate didn't die, and now they're back, and they also like gave John a hard time because Bendis didn't read that. He didn't read Dark Side War. So like, Man of Steel ruins everything if you liked Superman the year before.
Yeah.
Like everything. It
Yeah.
takes everything away. And then you hear Peter J. Tomasi, who was like writing the story, book is selling good, everybody's enjoying Superman, blah, blah, blah. Turns out like everything that Tomasi did, like Damien being Superboy and like the Super Sons thing, everything he did, he had to fight tooth and nail to get through. So like it was against editorial's better nature to
Right.
let any of the things you liked actually occur.
So as soon as Bendis came in and wanted to get rid of it, they were like, yeah!
Oh, please. Yeah,
Thank
thank you. Jesus Christ. Enough.
What?
So,
That's insane!
It's insane. Man of Steel.
But it was doing well. I thought they
Yeah.
were motivated by things that do well.
I know, but they're also motivated by their own, like, weird self-interests.
No, here's the thing. I don't care if it does well. I want to write my
See,
story.
That's the difference. The difference between Marvel and DC is such. Marvel will do anything as long as it sells.
Yeah.
And DC will do anything as long as it satisfies the egos of like 3 people who work at the editorial level. And against better judgment on both sides. Like
Yeah, well,
against
yeah.
better judgment, I will do exactly what I know will make me money, and against better judgment, I will do exactly what I want no matter what. You don't have no idea how many people tell me on a constant basis how they're like, okay, I hate everything that they did to Superman, but you have to admit that it's a really good series and it's really well written.
Except it's
No,
not.
I don't.
Well, like, you
Well,
have
is
to
it well
admit-
written?
Like, yes.
I'm sure the dialogue is great.
No.
No?
In this book, Flash refers to something as cock-a-poo-poo. So you tell me how the dialogue is.
Well, that
There's
sucks.
a moment where Rogolzar says, I'm sorry? Are you speaking to me? I'm like, he
Yeah.
has no nose. He looks like Doomsday in high school.
I feel like you're taking crazy pills.
Yeah, like-
I remember you complaining about Rogolzar all the time, and I'm like, yeah, he can't be that bad.
No. Yeah, Rogolzar is a parody of what people think things that are awesome are.
Right.
He's overly complicated. He has like a dumb backstory.
He's overly critical.
He never listens.
He's got an axe that is either made of crystals or is made of metal at certain
Right.
times.
I'm sure it's made of the bones of his enemies or something. Like,
Yep.
It's a mess. Like he's overly complicated. He has a backstory that doesn't just suck.
Hey.
It also undermines the nature of Superman's origin.
But don't worry, in one panel he rides a sweet space motorcycle.
Yeah.
One panel. By the way, like it would be like, because people are like, no, it deepens his origin. It would be like if Joe Chill, the man who murdered the Waynes, was working for the Joker. And he was told to do that. Like, it's that kind of unnecessary, intricate bullshit
Yeah.
that that removes the elemental nature of the origin of these time-honored characters.
Like, why?
Superman-
Oh, because the Joker was always there.
Right, like when
Like
we
wait a minute, but where did Joe Chill come from? Why did he do that?
Right, like
I
why do you
need to know
because,
these things.
Because crime is senseless. But no,
No, it's
No.
not senseless.
but-
No,
but-
there's actually an intricate
opposite
plan.
of that.
But if Batman, he declares war on all crime, though. If he's
Yeah, he was wrong. He should
What?
have just declared war on the Joker.
right,
Turns out the whole
conceit
isn't that
of
great?
Batman is
It
He's
that-
wrong.
undermines everything that he did his whole life.
Look, all I'm saying is we got 2 series and 60 completed issues out of that whole idea.
Yeah.
So,
So
fuck
who's
you.
wrong?
So who's wrong? You, who has nothing, or me, who has money from those? Like,
Fuck me, right? I
right.
guess.
Look, what do you care? We're just gonna undo it all anyway in another crisis or two.
It's funny how much you care.
That's them to a T.
It'd be awesome if at some point they're just like, no, all that bullshit about how the fucking council of whatever like used him and
Yeah.
like he destroyed. No, that's what he tells everybody. Actually,
He's his own
it's
hype
something
man.
else
Yeah.
entirely.
It'd be hilarious if like Rogue. Oh, would be great because Lobo shows up in the later Superman book, but he doesn't. But if someone says like, I can't, Kandor was destroyed by Rogol Zar, and Lobo's like, Rogol Zar. I used to give him wedgies in high school. Like Rogol Zar is the nerd of Zarnia, and like.
Like he got here and was just making up. No, I destroyed
I destroyed Krypton, and I
Yeah.
totally pantsed Lobo, and
didn't.
And I banged 50 chicks on the way over here, and they were all hot.
Krypton was being destroyed by the planet's core. It would happen on its own.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
No, I put a machine down there that did that.
A machine.
He just like found the
No, you
machine.
didn't.
He got it
somewhere.
from the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything. It makes
or
it.
he found it after Krypton was destroyed in the wreckage and
Yes.
just brought it to Earth.
Right.
It's like, oh, this is what destroyed Krypton. Well, I'll say that I destroyed Krypton, and then I'll use this to destroy a planet.
That's the best retcon you could possibly imagine. If I ever get to work for DC, which is never going to happen, but if I ever were, the first thing I'll do is just completely pants Rogol Zar. Is make him a Zarnian loser, like a nerd, like the second to last son of Zarnia, because Lobo destroys Zarnia.
Right.
He's like, I'm the only one left. But like, there's one left, and it's one that he didn't regard because he was a total nerd.
Yeah, that's
And
why he says he's
and
the last one.
And he
Yeah.
hit the gym and just steals other people's good ideas. So, Rogol Zar. It's not
Sorry,
even his
Bendis.
real name.
I'm sorry,
Like,
it sucks.
like Rogol Zar is the name of like the guy who was like in the
my
graduating
God.
class with Lobo. He's like a cooler guy, and he died tragically in like a drunken like motorcycle accident. Because they all drive motorcycles. I
Yeah,
think.
he stole
course.
his motorcycle and took on his persona.
Yeah.
Like Armin Tanzarian.
Yeah. Rogol Zar is Armin Tamzarian. That's not bad. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time in another episode of Back Issues. If you want Man of Steel for any reason, it's in the description, though I don't know why I do this.
I mean, here's the thing. Read it so you know the insanity of what's
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
on.
but otherwise, we'll see you guys next time in another episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Thanks for watching. What's great is after Bendis like gets really comfortable with Superman and DC, then he does another book where he has a character declare that there were 7 crises. He's like, there were 7 crises, and then everyone's like, okay, wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, I guess. Hey, well, what about what? You're not kidding. Is Convergence a crisis? And Bendis is like, and you're like, but that's the worst one to use. But that's the one that doesn't make any sense. Because at the end of Convergence, Superman and Lois and their infant son and Parallax go back in time and stop Crisis on Infinite Earths from happening. So how could that be part of the
They're all part of it. They all happened.
What?
Even the ones that specifically stopped the other ones.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, how can you have the one that was stopped without it having to be stopped by this story? Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
No.